Does this add so much? Oh, stupid, weak boy, abandoned by the woman who was supposed to love me. And the only man I ever trusted. I thought he was my brother. But he's my father?
The town of Willow Creek, Ohio, was quiet most nights. The kind of quiet where the streetlights hummed softly, and the sound of crickets filled the empty roads. It was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone. And unfortunately, everyone knew everyone's secrets. Ethan Carter had lived there his whole life. At 19 years old, Ethan was known as the polite boy who worked part-time at the grocery store while attending community college. He wasn't rich. He didn't have connections. But he had something rare for someone his age: responsibility. He helped his parents pay bills, fix things around the house, and studied late into the night because he believed education was the only way out of poverty. But everything in his life changed the day Sophia Bennett stood in the middle of town and said something that would follow him for years. "I'm pregnant." The words echoed through the small cafe where students gathered after school. People stopped talking. Heads slowly turned toward Ethan. Sophia was standing there, her arms crossed, her chin raised with defiance. Then she said the words that destroyed Ethan's peaceful life. "And Ethan is the father." The silence became suffocating. Ethan blinked in shock. "What?" he whispered. But Sophia didn't look nervous. She looked angry. "I'm not raising this child alone," she said loudly. The cafe exploded with whispers. "Oh my God, did you hear that? I always thought Ethan was a good boy." Ethan's heart pounded. "Sophia, what are you talking about?" he asked, his voice shaking. Sophia stared at him coldly. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." But Ethan truly didn't. Yes, they had dated briefly months earlier, but they had broken up quickly when Sophia started spending time with another man, a reckless guy named Jake Morgan, and everyone in town knew it. Yet here she was, blaming Ethan. "I'm not ready to be a mother," Sophia continued. Her voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. "I'm only 20. I have a life to live." The cafe filled with murmurs. One woman whispered, "That poor girl." Another whispered, "That poor boy." But no one said anything directly to Ethan. No one defended him. In a small town, truth rarely mattered. Rumors moved faster. Months passed. Sophia's pregnancy became the most talked about story in Willow Creek. Some people blamed Ethan. Others blamed Sophia. But no matter what people believe, the damage had already been done. Ethan stopped going to the cafe. He avoided crowded places. He focused on working and studying. Then one cold November night, Ethan received a phone call that changed everything. "Ethan," a nurse said gently, "you need to come to Willow Creek Hospital." His stomach tightened. "Why?" "There's a baby here, and Sophia listed you as the father." Ethan felt the world tilt beneath his feet. He arrived at the hospital trembling. But Sophia wasn't there. She had already left. All that remained was a tiny newborn baby boy, wrapped in a hospital blanket, crying softly. The nurse handed the baby to Ethan. "He needs someone," she said. Ethan looked down at the tiny face. The baby stopped crying, and for the first time in months, Ethan felt something unexpected: protectiveness. "What's his name?" Ethan asked. The nurse checked the paperwork. "Leo?" Ethan stared at the baby. Sophia was gone. Jake was nowhere to be found, and this child had no one. Ethan swallowed hard. Then he whispered something that would shake the rest of his life. "I'll take him." But here was the truth. A truth Leo would not learn for many years. Ethan did not take Leo home as a father. He took him home as a brother. Ethan's parents made that decision. "You're too young to raise a child," his mother said softly, "and the town will destroy you with gossip." So they created a secret. To Leo, Ethan would be his older brother, and Ethan's parents would be his mother and father. Leo would grow up believing he had been born later than Ethan, believing they were simply siblings. It was the only way to protect everyone. But secrets have weight, and Ethan carried that weight every single day. Raising Leo was not easy. Ethan's parents loved the baby deeply, but money was scarce, very scarce. Eventually, Ethan made a painful decision. His parents would focus their money on raising Leo, and Ethan would take care of himself. That meant leaving home, not because they didn't love him, but because they had to survive. Ethan moved between friends' couches. Sometimes he slept in his car. Sometimes he stayed in cheap shared apartments. But he never complained, because every time he felt like giving up, he remembered Leo's tiny hand holding his finger. So Ethan worked morning jobs, night jobs, construction, restaurant kitchens, warehouse loading, cleaning offices after midnight, then attending college classes exhausted the next morning. Years passed, slowly, painfully, but Ethan never quit. At 27, everything finally changed. Ethan graduated with a computer science degree. Shortly after, he got a job at a growing tech company. The salary felt unreal. For the first time in his life, he wasn't drowning. He moved his parents and Leo into a comfortable home. Leo was now 8 years old, bright, curious, always following Ethan around. "Big brother Ethan," Leo would shout. "Can you help me with my homework?" Ethan always smiled. Of course, Leo adored him. He didn't know the truth, but somehow, his heart already knew. Years passed again. Ethan worked harder than ever. Eventually, he started his own ICT company. At first it was small, just a tiny office. 2 employees, then 5, then 20, then 50. His company built software systems for businesses, and it grew faster than anyone expected. By the time Leo turned 18 years old, Ethan's company employed over 120 people. Leo had grown into a smart young man, kind, disciplined, hard-working, just like Ethan. He went to university, studied technology, and eventually joined his father's company. But he still didn't know Ethan was his father. He still believed Ethan was just his brother. And Ethan kept the secret, because sometimes love means carrying the truth alone. Then one day, everything began to break. Leo arrived home holding a white envelope. His hands were shaking. "Ethan." Ethan looked up from the dinner table. "What's wrong?" Leo placed the letter on the table. "I received this today." Ethan frowned. "From who?" Leo hesitated. "I don't know." Ethan opened the letter slowly. Then he read the words, and his heart stopped. "The man you call your brother is not who you think he is. He stole you from your real mother. You were kidnapped. Ask him the truth." Ethan's hands trembled. Someone was trying to destroy everything, and he already had a terrible suspicion about who it was. After 18 years, Sophia Bennett had returned. Leo read the letter 3 times. Each time the words seemed to grow heavier. "The man you call your brother kidnapped you from your real mother." Leo felt a strange pressure in his chest. It didn't make sense. It couldn't make sense. Ethan had been the most honest person he had ever known. The man who stayed up late helping him with homework. The man who never forgot his birthday. The man who taught him how to ride a bicycle. The man who taught him how to shake someone's hand confidently. How could that man possibly be a kidnapper? Leo looked up slowly. Ethan was sitting across the table. But something was different. For the first time in his life, Ethan looked afraid. Not angry, not defensive. Afraid. Leo's voice came out quietly. "Ethan, is this true?" The question felt like a knife in the room. Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came out, because the truth was complicated, and sometimes the truth hurts more than a lie. That night, Ethan didn't sleep. He sat in the living room while the rest of the house slept. The letter lay on the coffee table in front of him. He stared at it for hours. 18 years. 18 years of sacrifice. 18 years of hiding the truth to protect Leo. And now, a single letter had started to destroy it. Ethan already knew who sent it. Sophia, the woman who had disappeared the night Leo was born. The woman who had never once asked about her child. The woman who had left a newborn baby in a hospital and walked away without looking back. And now, after 18 years, she had returned, not to apologize, not to reconnect, but to destroy the only family Leo had ever known. Ethan rubbed his face slowly. His voice broke as he whispered into the empty room, "I was just trying to protect him."